This is the story of a man and his 3 daughters. His wife had passed away a few years ago. All 3 of his daughters were very beautiful. But the youngest daughter was the most intelligent of his sisters. Her name was Zainab. Karam loved all 3 of his daughters very much. He never let his daughters feel the absence of a mother. He fulfilled every wish of his daughters. Now, Karam's daughters had grown up and started cooking for his father. When Karam went out for work, his daughters would cook for him. In the same village, there was a widow who had a daughter. The widow used to go to every house to ask for something. When Karam's daughters would cook for their father, the woman would come to their house to ask for fire. But Karam's youngest daughter, Zainab, did not like the widow at all. Whenever the widow would come to his house, Zainab would tell her sisters, "Why does this woman come to our house? This woman is not good at all." Both the elder sisters would explain to Zainab, "Look, she is a widow and a poor woman. If she takes fire from our house, what is your loss in this?" Zainab would listen to her sisters and keep quiet. But she would say, "Look, this woman will cause trouble for all of us one day." This continued. That woman would come to their house every day to ask for fire, and when she got a chance, she would mix ash in Karam's food. When Karam felt bad about his food, he thought that his younger daughters cooked for him, so he must have made a mistake. He loved his daughters very much and he could not understand why his daughters were spoiling his food. One day, Karam thought, "I will keep an eye on my daughters today. What have my daughters suddenly started adding to my food?" When Karam's daughters started cooking, he secretly watched them. His elder daughter was washing rice with clean water, his younger daughter was making curry, and his youngest daughter was cleaning Zainab's utensils. The utensils in which the food was to be put in, the food was ready in no time. There was nothing wrong with the food. Karam was worried, but then suddenly, what he saw, the ground under his feet began to shake. He saw that the same widow had come to their house to ask for fire, and his younger daughter, Zainab, was arguing with him. At the same time, his other sisters were trying to explain to Zainab, "It's okay, Zainab. She is a widow. Let her take the fire," the elder sister said. But the widow, on the pretext of taking the fire, saved her eyes and added ash to Karam's food, and spoiled all the food. Seeing this, Karam became very angry. The next day, Karam called the widow to his house and asked in anger, "How dare you spoil my food?" The widow came to Karam in a very dramatic manner, and began to shake his hand on his chest and say, "Oh, I was just seeing if you really love your daughters or not." 2 older sisters were crying. Zainab came to her older sisters and said, "Dear sisters, let us all go out somewhere so that our minds are refreshed." Then the 3 sisters left the house and walked to a forest. There, under a dense tree, they began to cry and think of their mother. In the meantime, an old man with the name of Allah passed by them. Zainab was sitting on the ground, crying and saying, "Oh my Allah, we are oppressed girls and we are very sad. Do you see how much our stepmother oppresses us? We have been starving for so many days." The old man with the name of Allah was standing nearby and listening to them. Then he addressed Zainab and said, "Daughters, you 3 come here under this tree every day. Why are you sad? Can you tell me?" Zainab told the old man with the name of Allah the whole story. The old man was very sad to hear this. He said, "Daughters, my hut is a little far from here. I live and pray there. There is a pomegranate tree outside my hut with ripe pomegranates on it. You go and pluck as many pomegranates as you want from that tree and eat them." Hearing this, the 3 girls happily went to the hut. The stepmother got very angry. She thought, "How can I stop these girls from eating pomegranates?" She remained angry all day. When Karam returned home from work in the evening, he saw his wife worried. He said, "What is your problem? Why are you so sad?" She said, "I have a very severe headache. And this will not be cured by any medicine." Karam asked, "Then how will it be cured?" She said, "There is a pomegranate tree in the forest. There are red pomegranates on it. If you cut that tree from its roots, boil its roots and make a medicine, and apply it on my forehead, then my headache can be cured." Karam said, "That's it?" Then he called some men and gave them money and said, there is a pomegranate tree in the forest. You pick it up from its roots and give me its roots." Within a few hours, those men picked up the tree from its roots and brought its roots to Karamdin. Karamdin quickly lit the fire and made a medicine from the roots and applied it on his wife's forehead. In a little while, his wife said, "Now I am relieved." The next day, when the three sisters went to the forest, they saw that someone had picked up the pomegranate tree from its roots. Seeing this, she became very worried and started thinking, "What will we eat now?" Then the three girls sat there and started crying. Hearing their cries, the Almighty came out of his hut. They understood why the girls were crying. They said, "What is there to cry about? Allah will give you something better than this." Then the Almighty pointed to the ground with his finger and a small river was formed there, in which milk was flowing instead of water. He gave those girls a clay bowl and said, "Drink as much milk as you want from there." The Ruman started looking for his daughters. But the daughters were not at home. He reached the graveyard looking for them. There he saw that his three daughters were sitting near their mother's grave and crying. Seeing this, Karamdin's heart trembled. On one side was his wife's desire and on the other side was the life of his daughters. Karamdin did not know what to do. He thought his wife would never be happy with his daughters and his daughters were not happy with their stepmother. So he decided to take his daughters away. He hugged his daughters and said, "Oh daughters, why are you worried? I will take you somewhere else." He took his daughters to a dense jungle. There he made a clay stove and fed his daughters. When the daughters were full, they fell asleep under a tree. Karamdin left his daughters there and ran away. He thought that at least his daughters would be alive and would be safe from the cruelty of his stepmother. On the way, he hunted a deer and gave its blood to his wife. Zainab started trembling with fear and said, "Baba, what are you saying? I am married and a mother of a child. How dare you say that?" The magician beggar got angry. He turned Zainab into a dog with his magic and started pulling her neck with a rope. Zainab's son was crying loudly. When Zainab's sisters heard her son crying, they came running to her house. They quickly hugged Zainab's son and started looking for their sister at home. But they did not see Zainab anywhere. After her stepmother, Zainab had also disappeared. Time passed by. It had been 14 years since Zainab's disappearance. During this time, Zainab's son had grown up. He was raised by his two aunts. One day, Zainab's aunts told him the whole truth about her mother. Hearing this, he became very worried and said, "Auntie, today I will definitely go and find my parents." Zainab's aunts told him, "Son, what had to happen, has happened. Those who had to go, have gone. Now we do not want to lose you. Our husbands had also gone to the jungle and they never returned." Hearing what the old man said, the young man thought, "This girl is my mother, and these people belong to my family. I have finally found my family." The young man told the old man his story. He said, "Baba Ji, please help me. Please tell me how to save these poor people." The old man, whose hut was once burnt by Zainab's stepmother, smiled and said, "Son, Allah always helps those with a good heart. You should not lose hope." The old man was forced to live in this dangerous area. He promised the boy, "I will definitely support you." The old man thought, who knows, by getting this boy's mother released, the other prisoners may also be freed from the magician's captivity. The old man told the other villagers, "This is my grandson, who has come to meet me from another village." When the magician suspected that a new boy had come to the village, he immediately went to the old man of Allah and asked, "Who is this?" The old man replied, Zainab was kept in a room where no man was allowed to go. The boy would go to Zainab every day with a bouquet of flowers, and a servant of the magician would always stay with Zainab. One day, fate helped the boy. He got a chance when there was no one in the room except Zainab. The boy quickly took off the ring from his finger and hid it in the bouquet of flowers and placed it at Zainab's feet. As soon as the bouquet was placed on the ground, the sound of the ring was heard. Zainab picked up the bouquet with surprise and recognized the ring tied in the flowers. It was the same ring that she had put on her son years ago. Zainab looked at the boy who brought the bouquet. As soon as their eyes met, the truth was revealed. The magician had imprisoned Zainab, but her son was planning to free his mother. Zainab told the magician about her marriage and found out the secret of her power. The magician told her that her life was in a parrot, which is locked in a cage and under a dense forest tree. Zainab told this secret to her son, but refused to go to save him from danger. Still, her son assured his mother that he would return victorious. After many days of hard work, he reached the forest. On seeing this opportunity, he took the parrot out of the cage and brought it back to the magician's building. The magician saw him and begged for the parrot's return. The boy cleverly freed all the prisoners from the magician. After this, he pulled the parrot's wings, which destroyed the magician's power. In the end, he twisted the parrot's neck, which killed the magician. The boy freed his mother Zainab, father Nasir, and all the other prisoners. Then they all went to the Almighty God. Everyone thanked the Almighty God and returned home. Zainab's sisters were very happy to meet her husband, who had been imprisoned by the magician for years. Her father, who was sad to lose his daughters, started crying with joy when he saw them safe and sound. He apologized to his daughters and told them that all this happened because of his wife's conspiracies. The daughters consoled their father and said, "We are happy with our lives." Their father told them that his stepmother, who was cruel to them, died of a bad disease. After this, everyone started living their lives happily.